Hello, we're here tying a pikey perch type of fly here today. This can be used for pike and bass. The two major things you're going to need is a hook and a hook vise to hold in your hook while you're tying your fly. To put it in, all you have to do is take the hook and slide it in between the two clamps and push down the back so that it locks the hook in. The next thing you're going to need is a thread and a bobbin. The bobbin's used just to hold in the thread better. You're going to start by wrapping the thread all the way around the hook towards the bottom where the point is and all the way to the eye, and then bringing it back down to the point. The reason for doing this is so that it keeps the materials on the hook whenever a fish strikes your lure. The next material that is needed is some copper wire. This is going to be used to create a nice little flash for the lure. To tie this material on, all you're going to do is place it on the hook and wrap it around multiple times to secure it there. And you're going to leave a long area behind because you're going to wrap it around your fly later. The next material you're going to need is rabbit zonker, strips of rabbit fur that are dyed in different colors. This is going to be the main part of your fly. You're going to cut off a 2 to 3 inch strip, and you're going to cut the very end of it into a triangle so it ties onto your fly better. Now you're going to tie the rabbit zonker onto the back of the hook directly above where the point is, leaving 1 centimeter to 1 inch hanging off the back of the hook to create a tail. You're now going to leave the front half of the rabbit zonker untied, as there will be steps that will go underneath this. You're going to need to hold the fur down where you're tying, as it will tend to spin around the hook rather than tying onto the top. The next material you're going to take is dubbing. Dubbing all depends on what a person likes, as in there's different materials that can be used for dubbing. To apply dubbing, take a small amount of it out of its container and rub your fingers back and forth on your thread while still holding the dubbing. First thing you do is you pull back your rabbit zonker to get it out of the way, and you're going to wrap your thread with the dubbing still around it all the way up to the front of the hook. And if you can't finish it in one set, try this step again, as I am doing here, so that you fully cover the hook. Next step is tying on the rabbit zonker fully. So you're going to pull it forward, and you're going to pull the hair back so you don't pinch it down, and you're going to tie it around the triangle directly at the front of the zonker. If there's any extra hair sticking out, you can take the scissors and trim it down. Now we're going to go back to the copper wire we tied at the beginning of the video. Tie the wire in, we're going to wrap the wire exactly like we wrapped the thread, but the only difference is we're going over the dubbing and the already tied in rabbit zonker. Something that helps a lot is that when you go through the fur, separate the fur so that the hair sticks up rather than getting trapped down, so create more of a body for your fly. You're going to be doing this until the very end of your hook, so make sure you cut enough copper wire.
Well, I'm going fishing and cast my cares away to the long gone days of the summertime. La-de-da, well, I'm going fishing and cast my cares away.
When you reach the eye of the hook, you're going to tie the copper wire down exactly like you've tied everything else down. You're going to hold it right to the metal of the hook, and you're going to wrap your thread around multiple times. When the copper wire is firmly tied down, you can trim off all excess copper wire. Final step for your fly is tying a tiny head for it. This can be used with the dubbing in the same way you used earlier, by taking a small amount and twisting it on with your fingers. Just as we did earlier, we're going to tie it on with the dubbing still on the thread. To finish the fly, you have to tie off the head so that the thread does not come off. This is the most difficult part of fly tying. So to begin doing this, you're going to take 2 fingers and almost a peace sign and rest the line across the back of them. and then you're going to simply twist them until you create a loop. You're then going to take your loop, and where the line crosses each other, you're going to set that on your wire, and then you're going to pull the final bit down to tighten your loop. Final step is to take your scissors and trim off your thread. After cutting off your thread, you now have a finished pikey perch fly. You can now go fishing and cast this directly after you're done.